This is a majestic, glowing, immortal warrior descending from the clouds, wreathed in divine light. But he isn't here to deliver a prophecy. He's panicking because he missed his monthly KPIs, and upper management just docked 70% of his salary. In this universe, the heavenly court functions less like a holy pantheon and more like a predatory middle management bureaucracy. The gods are essentially overworked employees terrified of the next performance review. To keep their status and secure their year-end bonuses, these immortals have to meet a gruesome quota. They harvest human pills, a performance metric that requires them to extract the literal essence of mortal lives just to stay on the celestial payroll. By using ancient Xianxia mythology as a backdrop, the series creates a direct, biting satire of modern corporate exploitation and the toxic culture that sustains it. At the bottom of this hierarchy is the Dragon Clan, the ultimate exploited underclass. They are physically bound by the dragon-locking chain, trapped in a literal underwater prison for the crime of being useful scapegoats. This wasn't a punishment for a divine sin. 10,000 years ago, the gods framed the dragons for a simple bureaucratic reason. They needed to hoard the limited number of promotion spots in the celestial hierarchy for themselves. The heavenly court continues to use the dragons to cover their own tracks. When an immortal needs to engineer a disaster to harvest human souls, like the intentional flooding of Chentong Pass, the dragons are forced to take the fall to protect the reputations of the gods. When every promotion and every disaster is pre-planned by management, playing by the rules only reinforces the trap. Escaping a system this tightly rigged would require a force that doesn't acknowledge the board's authority at all. Chen Fan is a modern man who transmigrated into this world, but he hasn't realized he's in a magical epic. He believes he's an ordinary fisherman. Look at the grit and physical strain of these men pulling nets. This is how Chen Fan perceives his daily life, a series of mundane chores he must complete to max out his skills and retire in peace. His ignorance turns him into a wrecking ball. While trying to finish his daily fishing task, he accidentally hooks the East Sea Dragon King. He shatters the unbreakable 10,000-year-old heavenly chains as if he were just pulling a stubborn piece of seaweed off his line. In traditional Chinese mythology, the story is fixed. The child deity Neza is destined to slaughter the Dragon King's son in a violent display. This statue captures that triumph, the violent baseline that usually defines this conflict. Chen Fan accidentally prevents this war with simple human resources advice. When the Dragon King asks how to handle a problematic child, Chen Fan assumes he's talking about a difficult client. He suggests a basic management strategy: give the kid something he's never had. The Dragon King gives Neza a book on human etiquette. The violent mythological cycle breaks instantly. The enemies become friends, and the heavenly court loses the scapegoats they needed for their next engineered disaster. There is a massive gap in perspective here. The heavenly court is trying to play political chess, but Chen Fan is effortlessly defeating them because he thinks he's playing a casual management simulator. Desperate to hit their monthly quotas, the immortals unleash ancient, world-ending beasts to flood the human realm. They need the death toll to rise to secure their celestial bonuses. Chen Fan encounters these apocalyptic monsters, but he doesn't see a threat to the world. He just sees rare, oversized fish that are making the waves too big and ruining his peaceful afternoon. His fishing rod completely nullifies the beast's ancient magic. He yanks the world-ending monster out of the sea as if it were a common carp. Then he delivers the ultimate insult to the celestial hierarchy. He scales the beasts, chops them into chunks, and deep fries them for dinner. These complex corporate machinations fall apart because Chen Fan refuses to grant them any weight. You can't intimidate someone who perceives your ultimate weapons as a nice salt and pepper skewered snack. When middle management fails, the CEO has to step in. The Jade Emperor descends from the heavens, arriving as an absolute, unyielding authority figure, ready to personally crush the rebellious dragons and restore corporate order. At that exact moment, Chen Fan is ignoring the heavens entirely. He is busy complaining to his friend that he messed up the nose on a clay statue he's trying to sculpt. As he works the clay, his casual sculpting accidentally activates the primordial chaos absolute heaven-suppressing formation. This universe-altering array originates from the statue's botched nose, and begins systematically nullifying the power of everything above it. The formation washes over the Jade Emperor and his entire army, instantly neutralizing their magic. It strips away their divine authority and traps them in a field where their celestial status means absolutely nothing. The absolute symbol of corporate power in the three realms is dismantled in seconds, and it happened because a man the gods consider an entry-level mortal was distracted by his own low-stakes hobby. Trapped and powerless, the Jade Emperor is forced to surrender. He yields to the Dragon Clan's demands for total independence and is made to issue a public apology for 10,000 years of systemic oppression. The universe recognizes this shift in power by awarding Chen Fan an immortal rank equal to the Heavenly Tao. This officially places him at the very top of the hierarchy, higher than the Heavenly Court itself. Chen Fan ignores the promotion. He looks at his new supreme rank and only hopes he can use those powers to ensure that no fisherman ever has to come home empty-handed again. Chen Fan chose the absolute freedom to ignore the latter entirely. He walked away from the highest position in the heavens to return to his quiet life on the shore, proving that the real prize wasn't the throne, but the sunset and the bobber.